I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A moment of silence. Thank you, Elevator, for disrupting our silence. All right, moving on to citizen concerns. Anything not on the agenda? All right, moving right on to the approval of the agenda. I will move that. Second. Motion by Radig, second by DeWitt. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. 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 Well, there's Jeremy. Anyone opposed? All right, that passes 5-0. Moving on to the consent agenda. Items 5 through 8 constitute a consent agenda of routine action items to be considered under one motion. Items pass unanimously unless a separate vote is requested by a board member. Item 5, approval of the minutes of the January 22nd, 2019 meeting. Number 6, approval of claims. Number 7, Board Administration, Karen James, approval of lifting tax suspension for Number 8, Siouxland District Board of Health, Kevin Green, consideration of appointment to Siouxland District Board of Health. All good? All right. I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Radig, second by DeWitt. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, it passes 5-0. Moving on to item number 9, Sioux City Park and Recs. Matt, come on up there. We got the approval of request for financial support from Riverfront Redevelopment Project.
All right, Matt Salvatore, Parks and Recreation Director for the City of Sioux City. Thanks again for having me back. With me is Angel Walls, Parks and Recreation Manager. We started this discussion back in October. The Sioux City Parks and Recreation Department is looking to leverage funds to get a community attraction and tourism grant for the Riverfront Development Project. That grant requires city, county, and private funds. The City of Sioux City recently earmarked $6 million over the next 5 fiscal years for the Riverfront Development Project. There's going to be $2 million in FY20, $1 million in FY21, and $1 million for the next 3 years. So a full 5-year pledge. The first phase will consist of $3 million in city funds. Construction would start on that in the spring of 2020. Phase 2 would consist of $1 million in city funds, plus any grants and private funds that we receive over the next year. So CAT would be among those, part of Phase 2. Construction would start on that in 2021. The county request could be spread over FY20, FY21. We're looking for $150,000. The third and final phase is looking like that would take place in 2023. So overall, it's a $16.4 million project. Your support would go a long way in making this project a reality. And with that, I'll just open it up for any questions.
So FY 2021 is when the CAT grant part is taking place?
Yeah, we would implement that in FY21.
What size of CAT grant are you applying for? Do you know?
About $600,000 range.
And then, Dennis, what was our 2021 kind of outlook?
Okay, our outlook between lost money, which is option sales tax and gaming, and local option sales tax as of today through June 30th of 2020, we have $116,316 unobligated. Point there is this has to last you 17 months for anything that might come up in that time period. In gaming, we have unobligated $133,982, same scenario there. That's from today through June 30th, 2020. That incorporates everything that we've got this year and next year. So your funds are a little bit limited. And then even local option sales tax, when we look forward to the year 2021, the obligation we currently have now, less some that we won't have, hopefully IJR, some of this rural things we were doing for planning won't be there, but we only got about $15,000 difference between the money coming in to what we will have obligated if we obligate everything again like we have in the past for fiscal year 2021. So there's not unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of money there.
We could take a little from lost, a little from gaming.
You could.
What?
The loss
Trying to remember here. Gaming.
Gaming you use anywhere. That's
Just tax relief.
no restrictions. On local
Lost,
option
it's supposed to
tax,
be 80% economic development, and what's the other?
80% goes to tax reduction, which we do for secondary roads.
Okay.
20% goes for infrastructure, economic development through rural county, but it's expanded over to the cities also.
Sure.
So it's pretty much wide open.
So 20% is allocated towards,
Yes. And that's what we have. Out.
Garnering
we
more.
Split out through, and that's what's left over.
I gotcha.
Yep. We fund land, or we fund economic development department, soil conservation, library.
We're supposed to garner more sales tax or use to garner other grants, like the CAT grant?
Yes.
Okay.
Not for operating. Although we have a little bit with economic development, but that's supposed to generate sales tax development.
So like last year, most of it was, so we had the sheriff's floor scrubber, the software, and one other item.
Furniture.
Furniture, yep. And then we also had conservation.
15,000 there for part-time help, but we didn't use that next year.
But no, the emergency stuff that came up during the year.
Emergency things.
Was that did we use roof?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, there's one plan or development project they had. I didn't bring my sheets down, but there's one where they did a study. It's about $50,000. It's Todd here.
But that wasn't the emergency funding.
That'd be out of local option sales tax. We funded out of that because they didn't have it in their budget, so we funded it out of local option sales tax.
Okay.
But disregarding those, what we have currently obligated, and carry that forward to 2021, we'll spend most of our money that will be coming in.
What have we obligated so far for rural projects, Dennis?
Oh, probably around, I want to say around 300,000. A little bit more than that, because you also have the IJR, where we have 110,000 come from their entities, but we're going to spend about 121,000. You know, that's still trying to get the final phase and get it done. We have 93,000 just for comprehensive planning that's been obligated since fiscal year 2016. That's still going on. Now, someday I hope that comes to an end and we do or don't spend the 93,000. So there's some money potentially could be coming up, but highly doubtful. I've talked to David about the comprehensive plan. It says that'll all be spent. IJR, that'll all be spent. It's part of the last phase. Then we fund an initiative out of there. We fund housing through WIT, Semco.
Wicker
Various
TIF.
things we do fund out of there every year. County fairs out of there.
Would it help to stretch it through FY22?
Probably would, because we wouldn't have those comp plans on there. That's 20,000.
Hopefully not. I don't know how long the contract.
Mr. Chair.
For 3 years it'd be done.
Yes. Go ahead, Jeremy.
So I think when we did the Cone Park project, it was about 15%, and this is about 25%. I'm reading that right. So I think with the leverage idea, I don't think it's a bad idea to look at a total obligation of no more than 100,000 if we're going to be consistent. No matter how we stretch it, or I like your diversifying of the funds, whether it's a combination of gaming and local option sales tax.
Is Kenny nearby?
I don't know.
Or anybody from building maintenance that could maybe address the...
I'll try to call.
Okay. Sure, you just turn a key and shut one of them off, whichever one's making the noise. I mean, we have some funding available. I know we don't have 150, but
I agree with
guess-
Jeremy. If we could get to that 100 mark, I think that makes sense, because we granted 50,000 last time for a $300,000 grant. It'd be nice to have 100,000 towards a $600,000 grant.
And we'd probably have to stretch it out over a few years because, I mean, I'm not too comfortable having basically our emergency fund bucket.
Depleted.
Yeah, so.
2 years in advance.
Angel, do you think that would work for the purpose of the grant?
They commit to the 100,000, then just show that you're going to be doing it.
I think we can make that work.
I think you mentioned you could go into 22, is that,
Yeah.
so you could spread over
3.
20, 21, 22, 3 years, that's 30,000, 35,000 a year.
Because, yeah, if you did, well, say 33,
And see where our funds go.
You
You can
took-
always change the funding mechanism after the first year.
because if you took 33 out of gaming, that puts it down to 100 grand, and that's about as low as I want that to go.
And that'd be spread over 3 years, right? Or 33, you're 100,000 total. So do you want to split it between local options gaming, the 33,000 each year for 3 years? That way you still have money left. If something comes about, you get more money, you could always bump it up.
I don't know, what do you guys, you got any thoughts on it, Rocky?
I do, but I'm not supportive.
Well, do you have a figure you do support too? Just, is mine really loud? Am I too close here? There we go. Better? All right. A figure you do support by chance?
No, I'm not supportive.
Of any amount?
I'm not.
Okay. Marty?
I agree with the 100,000 and to try to get the $600,000 grant. And I think if we spread it over 3 years, I could see us doing it, 23 and 10 out of gaming and local option sales tax. And that way we wouldn't, I don't like this idea that 18 months out, we've already spent most of the money that we're assuming. we're
Right.
gonna get.
That's the other side of things.
That's not the
We're-
best way to run a budget.
We're 17 months out on the funds. I'm not a big fan of allocating
But
that far out.
I would support $100,000 towards, over a 3-year period.
Okay, and then Matthew,
I don't like using gaming. I don't like that precedent. It's hard to use lost funds. You have to find economic development projects, and it's tempting to shift them around as you go on, as we've done with different things that we've allocated half here and half there. It's always hard for me to support using lost funds on Sioux City projects. Since we have the economic development comprehensive plans, a lot of that focus was
Use lost funds.
mindful of lost funds, and to hear they're so low, it would have to garner a significant local option sales tax, as other projects have done. So I don't think I'm supportive of 150,000 or probably even 100,000.
okay. So Rocky, did you have more you said?
I claim that I would not support any amount, and primarily because we are sitting with secondary roads. I'm the only rural supervisor that lives in the county, and we've got so much money staring at us. We've got so many projects out there that's going to cost so much money. I'm just not in favor of spending more money in Sioux City. I just cannot get myself there.
Matthew, would you support more like 60,000, do 20,000 over 3 years, 20, 20, and 20?
Is that a make or break for the grant?
Well, that's 10% of the grant. I don't know that, it's 600,000.
What will happen is if it's not enough, they'll negotiate with us, and then at that time, we could come back. It was enough last time where it wasn't even questioned, but I know
Sure.
they've done that in the past.
Yeah.
No, I'm with Supervisor DeWitt. I can't support it.
Okay. I didn't know about going up to 100 if we had that kind of dollar amount. Because for 17 months, then after that, we're getting what, another 400,000 into the fund, but which,
But a lot of that, if you continue.
Is already gonna be allocated.
Currently, like we have currently, next year, following year, you don't have enough money. Eventually, we're gonna start shifting things back or not doing them. We may not be able to take the whole economic development department out, 278,000. We may only be able to take half of it. But then you're increasing taxes on the real people when you do that. Same way with the soil conservation, there's 39,000. We're paying, normally paid out real basic, but in past years, we've been helping reduce the tax rates, asking, so we funded out local option sales tax. So there's two key places right there. You could cut back, but you're gonna tax for it.
right.
And you go to the fair, you go to Siouxland Initiative, there's multiple things there. That if you're gonna fund it, say the 150, you're gonna start cutting other places, shifting it back to taxes, or eliminate them. That's your options. Because sales tax is not growing that fast. Gaming revenue, I've done, look back, and they're actually 3 or 4 million less at this time this year than they were last year. So you hate to depend, I think, and maybe you did too, depending on money, and we aren't guaranteed that future money. If the economy goes to pot, gaming could go to pot, local option go to pot. If there's a big windfall in our CF tax plan, that changes the whole volume. But I don't see those on the horizon. I don't think the city does either. Like to.
I don't know, you may get, when's the Ag Center, Expo Center supposed to open?
That starts this year. Now,
So it's not gonna open for like 2 years
yeah.
though, right?
Now, we did delay that a year, which saves us 150,000. We reallocated at different areas. But say they do not get construction started by July 1st.
I'm just thinking for sales tax revenue. You know, if you have more events going on in town, you bring more people in, you get more sales tax.
We hope.
Yeah.
It's all speculation.
I mean, I kind of, you know, I agree with Matt and Rocky in one regard that, you know, we're the county side and we're supposed to fund county things, but at the same time, a lot of the sales tax that comes into Woodbury County comes through, you know, venues of like the Orpheum or the Tyson Event Center. If these things weren't bringing in so many people for shows, you wouldn't have as much sales tax.
Well, Cone Park was a perfect example. You guys supported that, and it's been a tremendous success, and it's brought in tons of sales tax.
Right.
We hope to continue that trend with this project.
And I think that's maybe why when you look at like a riverfront redevelopment, there's not as much excitement to fund at the same level, you know, because it's a different type of venue. You're not going to bring the same
Right.
kind of.
I mean, we do hope to have concerts and festivals and that sort of stuff there.
Okay.
That's how it's been designed. So that's the intention.
Okay. Jeremy, any other thoughts on a compromise number?
I could do something in between. I think if we do nothing, we lose the ability to leverage, which is typically what we've done.
Right.
But I could do something less than 100 as long as the cap board ultimately saw it as enough to be able to maximize that money.
So is this, it's on for action. I think the 60 would be a good compromise at 10% of the grant amount. Like I said, we'd probably have to stretch it over the 3 years, 20, 20, and 20. I think this would get you at least 3 votes to get it passed anyway.
Yeah, we'd be appreciative of that.
I'll move that 60,000 with 20,000 coming out each year. And at this point, Dennis, is it preferred that it come out of lost funds?
Yes.
That's the most sensible place anyway because of where it's going to go.
That's where we funded the Ags, or the event center. That's where we funded the CAT grant here for Cone Park.
All right.
I'll second it.
All All right, so motion by Raddick, second by Potabom. Any further discussion on this item? The elevator's got a lot to say.
Getting worse.
Yeah.
That's brand new.
Uh,
Or a year old or less.
I think I got some WD-40 in the car.
Gallons.
No. All right, well, no further discussion. Go ahead and do a roll call on that there for us, Mr. Otter.
DeWitt,
Nay.
Potabom,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Ung,
Nay.
Raddick.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much for your support. We'll get going on our grant, and we'll report back as needed.
Sounds good.
Very much.
Thank you both. Go ahead.
I'm assuming the 60,000 dependent, they do get the CAT grant. If they don't get,
It is probably kind of contingent on the CAT grant, so, yeah,
We can't apply for it if we don't.
yeah. All right. Moving on, Elections Department, Steve Hoffmeyer is, so I guess, are you taking that then, Pat?
Yes.
All right, so we got A, canvass of the Farmers Drainage District election. We just got-
Farmers Drainage Ditch, Gary Walters received 2,696 votes, and that was for Sub-District 1. Yep. So we declare him winner. So
All right.
motion to
We got to receive that, is that right?
receive for signatures.
All right, I'll move that.
Second.
Motion by Raddick, second by DeWitt. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Move on to canvass for the Garrettson Drainage District election.
Charles Woodman received 1,122 votes. I therefore declare Charles Woodman duly elected to the Garrettson Drainage District Trustee, Sub-District 1.
So which brother is that?
that'd be my uncle.
Oh, uncle, okay,
Now you're famous.
yeah. He's got, what, 6 brothers, so pretty good odds. Like being a Gill or a Potabom, I guess.
Right.
I'll move to receive that.
Second.
Motion by Raddick, second by Ung. All those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Move on to secondary roads. The county engineer. So technically, if
Sign.
our engineer were to slide up to the podium, would that be a skid mark?
A slide would be difficult today.
Looks like you've been doing some sliding or something.
Well, I took a shot in the thigh sparring Sunday, so I'll be able to get just a little bit. Got a big knot there right now.
So I sign any of these here.
First item I had for today was approval of propane contracts for county heating. It was an oversight. We didn't get this contract through the board. Johnson Propane has been honoring the current price of $1 per gallon, though. I recommend approval of the contract. Sorry.
They're holding the price at what, Mark? I don't see it.
$1 per.
$1?
Yeah, it's in the contract form in the language under witness.
I will second that.
I moved it, right?
Somebody moved it.
Okay. Motion by Raddick, second by DeWitt, to approve the contract. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed? Passes 5-0. We're going to B, award quote for bridge rehab project.
We have a project on Cassuth Avenue where we're going to be rehabilitating an existing county bridge, driving new piling under each abutment, placing a new cap, adding a couple of beams. It's not really a full-blown replacement. It's been a few years since we've done one of these. We have all of the materials in stock already. We have a substantial supply of beams. We have the piling and everything that's needed for the project. This is a labor-only contract, so the low bid on it was $67,000 from Dixon Construction. I recommend award to Dixon.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion by DeWitt, second by Young. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0.
Finally, we have approval of the plans for replacement of an existing bridge on Franklin Avenue. This would be just about a half a mile north of Old Highway 20 on Franklin. We'll be replacing with a single barrel 10x6 box culvert. I recommend approval of the plans.
So you didn't need a double barrel, huh?
No, it's,
I'll move approval.
Second.
Second.
I'm trying to remember right now, it's a little over 300 acres of drainage, and single was adequate.
Motion by DeWitt, second by Young. Any further questions? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Moving on to the reports on committee meetings.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. These two are ready for you. I don't know what the others are.
Thank you.
I guess, Jeremy, you got anything on committees so far?
Just that we had a very good LEC expansion committee meeting, and I have looked at plans potentially of what it will take to retrofit the current air handler system. And instead of doing that remotely, Supervisor Ung was there if he wanted to share anything further. Thought it was a good meeting all told.
So it was a good meeting. There is some potentially very good news on how it could be cost neutral, at least to taxpayers over time. That's really the only way that something of this magnitude could make financial sense. So the county is reaching out to different entities to see if we can secure different agreements to make sure that that sort of arrangement can be made. But the alternative is tens of millions of dollars in repairs alone, which are something of a necessity. And if they did happen at the wrong time, then there'd be basically a cascading effect of emergency repairs, which puts the county in a position where we need to plan ahead. Anyway, there's a lot that could be said, but there's quite a bit of drawings going on and quite a bit of planning going on to make sure that when this is presented to the public, it'll be something that is revenue neutral or even positive. That's what I have.
So with that, I've given permission to ask for reimbursement for some travel for Goldberg. He'll be traveling to the Twin Cities. Is that something that, like if it surpassed a certain dollar amount, I actually need to bring to you guys to support? Or how's that work?
Are you going for a day, or what's the?
No, I'm talking for Goldberg, for us to reimburse Goldberg because he's not under contract, which, you know, after this meeting in Minneapolis, we'll probably have to look at a contract going forward. But Dennis, would you know the answer to that, or is this for Pat, or?
I think, I don't know why you can't go.
No, I'm talking about us reimbursing Goldberg's travel.
Well, Goldberg's travel, that'd be a legal question.
As I said, we would.
It'd be part of design costs.
We would figure out how to reimburse him, but you know, obviously I'm allocating about $1,000 of spending without board approval. But that's where I guess I'm asking for forgiveness, or if I do have discretionary spending up to $1,000 for something like that, or not.
Keith, could you do it under the contract that he has currently, which is to look at the size and scope and potential retrofitting of it? I wonder if that could be a question that.
Well, I kind of think that's outside of that contract.
Can you amend the contract?
Okay.
Yeah, we could probably amend the contract.
Can they do that? Joshua?
Potentially. I mean, if it's a one-time sort of thing, it might make sense just to put it on the agenda and approve that. Or if it's something that could be a reoccurring or additional work to be done, then you'd probably want to look at an amendment to the contract.
So you guys can't all vote no on that when it's on the agenda. Make me look bad.
Keith, do you mind just letting the others know the purpose of him going up to Minneapolis? Maybe that's been stated, but as far as looking at potential revenue and intergovernmental agreements.
So obviously we're looking to partner with outside entities, one of those being a very powerful partner within the federal government that needs places, needs beds, is willing to work with us. There's different types of, I don't know how you say it, guests that pay out at different rates. And they would like to have some kind of say on the design of the facility and want to work with Goldberg and the county moving forward with design to see what would be best for all of us. If we had some paying out at $300 a day rate versus $150 a day rate, well, we could pay for the jail 3 times faster, or twice as fast anyway, at those higher rates. So we were looking at having probably Tony Wingert, myself, and Larry going together to meet with this agency at their office in Minneapolis. Sound fun? All right.
I have no problem with it. I just think it's something we should just bring here and we'll vote on it. And I would rather do it clean as just a one-time thing. Sure. Try to amend the contract to fit it into it.
Yeah, it's not going to fit that. So should we just throw that on next week's agenda there?
That's what I would do.
I think as long as you're up front with where it is in the claims and
sure,
you've advised the board that there's no major objections to something such a great magnitude.
Sure.
Securing that piece is pretty important. So.
All right. Any other committees for Jeremy?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Matthew? All right, moving on to Marty.
Nope.
Rocky? Let's see. I had one. We could just move on to citizen concerns here if there's any others in the room. None. All right, moving on to board concerns. We'll go with Jeremy again there.
No, none at this time. Thanks.
Matthew? Marty?
Nope.
Rocky?
No.
I guess we did have both our conference board meetings last week. So you got all the information you need for that on the budget side there, Dennis? Yep. I know that the county conference board budget asking will be a decrease in the levy. Regional Workforce Development Board, David Gleiser joined our board this last meeting, so he'll be on that as well. Not much else was done or discussed there. And of course we had our ACT Work Ready Community event on Friday. I thought that went well. Very exciting to have both the governor, lieutenant governor, and Beth Townsend all come and speak for the first county to receive that in Iowa. Nice event. I didn't get as much Chick-fil-A as I wanted, but I guess we'll have to go with it. But yeah, thank you all for being there. A lot of you were there. And nothing else. I'll move we adjourn, or I guess we are adjourned.